Episode 88, Be Cautious. A very interesting game. After buying the gift, Ningxi returned to her apartment. As she exited the elevator and walked towards her apartment, she was suddenly greeted by a towering, nearly 2-meter-tall, burly man standing like a gatekeeper in front of her. Ningxi was momentarily stunned. She looked at her apartment door. Wasn't she going the right way? Excuse me, who are you? This is my home, and you're blocking my way. Miss Ning, my name is Jiong. The boss asked me to protect you. The burly man replied and obediently moved 2 steps aside, making way for her. He then continued standing there like a gatekeeper. Hearing this response, Ningxi was somewhat surprised. Boss? Who's your boss? Jiong answered, Miss, my boss's last name is Lu. Ningxi's lips twitched. Lu? Could it be Lu Tingxiao? Jiong nodded. Yes. Ningxi suddenly had a black line on her forehead. It really is him. My goodness. Why did he send you to protect me? Jiong answered with a straight face, the boss asked me to ensure your safety on the set. Safety on the set? Ningxi suddenly remembered the conversation with Lu Tingxiao about the dangerous scenes in the script. Could it be because of this? Taking a deep breath, Ningxi said, Big brother, it's an order from your boss, but your boss ordered you to be responsible for my safety on the set. The shoot hasn't started yet, and it won't start for a while. Isn't it a bit too early for you to come? When is the shoot starting? Jiong asked. I'm not sure, but definitely not in the near future. Ningxi replied. After thinking for a moment, Jiong raised his head and said, Since it's uncertain, everything is possible. You might start tomorrow or even now. I must follow the boss's orders. Ningxi almost wanted to kneel down for his logic. Holding her forehead, she said, But, standing at my doorstep like this is affecting my life, you know? Jiong thought for a moment, then nodded. All right, I understand. After saying that, he turned around and left. Huh? This guy's thinking is quite clear. She didn't expect her imaginary persuasion to work. Ningxi breathed a sigh of relief and went into the house. Once inside, she sent a message to Lu Tingxiao, telling him that he didn't need to go through the trouble of sending someone to protect her. After sending the message, there was silence on the other end. No reply came. Normally, Lu Tingxiao would reply instantly when she messaged him. This was the first time he hadn't responded for so long. Maybe he's busy with work. Ningxi didn't pay it much mind. She took out the jade bracelet she had just bought and examined it carefully. Whether it was because she bought it with her first endorsement fee or not, the more she looked at it, the more she liked it. After a good while of careful observation, she carefully put it away. After scrolling through entertainment news and reading the script for a while, it was already evening. Her phone had been silent, and Lu Tingxiao still hadn't replied. Ningxi felt a slight frown. At this time, he should have finished work and eaten, right? Did he not see it, or did he see it but not reply? For some reason, she faintly felt a little uneasy. Oh well, maybe she was being too paranoid. It's just that he hasn't replied to a message for half a day. Ningxi shook her head, quickly threw her phone away, and went to have dinner, not letting herself overthink it. The next morning, with no work scheduled for the day, Ningxi went out for a morning run and then bought breakfast. While walking, her expression suddenly changed. It seemed like someone was following her. Ningxi remained calm and continued walking leisurely, wandering into winding alleys until she was sure she had shaken off the pursuer. Quickly finding a hiding spot, she waited. Soon, a tall figure appeared at the entrance of the alley. Seizing the opportunity, Ningxi swiftly approached and, catching the person's shoulder from behind, asked, Who are you? As the man turned around, Ningxi was stunned. Why is it you again? Wasn't this the guy named Jiong from last night? She thought he had left, but it turned out he had switched to a different method of so-called protection. Ningxi sighed, Didn't I tell you? I won't turn on my phone for at least a month or 2. You can rest assured. Miss, I'm just strictly following the boss's orders. Jiong remained unwavering. Helplessly supporting her forehead, Ningxi wondered how Lu Tingxiao had such dedicated subordinates. Just as Ningxi was pondering how to convince him, Jiong suddenly took out his phone from his pocket and looked at it. Ningxi didn't know what he saw, but his expression changed slightly as he contemplated, Why did the boss ask me to go there? Boss? What boss? Are you talking about Lu Tingxiao? Since last night, Ningxi had been waiting for Lu Tingxiao's reply to her message. Seeing that there was now information related to Lu Tingxiao, she couldn't help but lean over and sneak a peek. The message read, Boss has ordered all personnel, regardless of their location, to immediately gather at this location, X country, Philadelphia, Arsenal, coordinates XXX. The sender was Hao Gu, probably one of Lu Tingxiao's subordinates. After seeing this message, Ningxi's face suddenly changed. X country, Philadelphia. Damn! Lu Tingxiao, who was on a business trip to X country, unexpectedly went to Philadelphia. Isn't Philadelphia one of YS's main bases? And the message even mentioned the arsenal. Why would Lu Tingxiao gather all his subordinates at an arsenal? Could this really be related to that guy? If that's the case, then it's a serious problem. Putting away his phone, Xiongji hastily said to Ningxi, "Miss, I need to rush to Philadelphia immediately. Please wait for me to come back before entering the film set." The more Ningxi thought about it, the more uneasy she felt. Annoyed, she said, "What film set? I've said it before, I won't be shooting for some time. What's going on with Lu Tingxiao? Wasn't he on a business trip to X country? How did he end up at an arsenal?" Seeing that Ningxi knew the content of the message, Xiongji frowned slightly, his face stern. "Miss, I can't tell you about these things. I don't have time to explain now. I hope you can understand." After saying this, Xiongji swiftly ran away. This guy, despite looking as heavy as a bear, could run quite fast. At this moment, Ningxi was already extremely anxious. Damn it, what happened to Lu Tingxiao? Regardless, instead of worrying here, it's better to go and see. If nothing happened, she could just sneak back. If something really went wrong. In the end, after glancing in the direction where Xiongji had left, Ningxi made a decision. She quickly flipped through her things to find her passport, then without wasting a moment, she headed to the airport. At the airport, Ningxi checked the flight information for Xiongji's flight. Indeed, she found the latest flight to Philadelphia. Without hesitation, she bought a ticket and discreetly followed him. After getting off the plane, a chilly breeze greeted her. The weather in Philadelphia wasn't good today. Drizzling rain fell from the sky, and there was an unsettling atmosphere in the air. After landing, Ningxi concealed her tracks. Perhaps because Xiongji was in a hurry, she didn't notice her following him all the way. X country, Philadelphia. Xiongji pulled a pitch-black semi-automatic .22 pistol from his waist. This type of pistol was extremely small, but its penetration power was terrifying. It was precisely this .22 pistol that had allowed Xiongji to escape danger many times. Arriving here, Xiongji inexplicably felt a foreboding sense of danger. Over the years, he had experienced too many life-threatening missions, giving him an almost beast-like instinct for danger. In the background, Ningxi hid in an inconspicuous corner, her eyebrows slightly furrowed, feeling that something was not quite right. Under Ningxi's gaze, Xiongji took a deep breath, then turned and entered the pitch-black abandoned warehouse ahead. Strange, why would the boss arrange for us to meet here? This place seems to be an abandoned arsenal. Xiongji had just entered the abandoned warehouse when, in the distance, a car swiftly approached. After the car pulled over, the passenger door opened, and the first to step out was one of Lu Tingxiao's trusted men, Shi Xiao. Soon, two other dubious-looking men with a sly appearance also left the car, following behind Shi Xiao. "Boss, why did the boss ask you to meet him here? This place seems to be an abandoned arsenal in Philadelphia." "Yeah? I remember this warehouse. It should be the territory of the Italian mafia in Philadelphia. Does the boss have any connection with the Italian mafia?" The two men spoke to Shi Xiao, their faces filled with doubt. Italian mafia? Hearing this, Shi Xiao was somewhat puzzled. The two men in front of him had some minor influence in Philadelphia, or he wouldn't have recruited them to work for him. They should be familiar with the distribution of power in Philadelphia. "Yeah, it's the Italian mafia, but this arsenal has been abandoned for a long time. It shouldn't be anything." The other man nodded. "The boss arranged for us to meet in an abandoned arsenal of the Italian mafia." Muttering to himself, Shi Xiao's expression tightened. Then, he looked at the two men and said, "Be careful, and follow my lead. Watch for my signals." Almost instinctively, Shi Xiao felt something was amiss. Soon, Shi Xiao led the two men into the warehouse. In a corner, Ningxi wasn't idle either. She followed behind Shi Xiao and the others, sneaking into the warehouse. The warehouse was very dark and damp, with a hint of mildew in the air, mixed with an unpleasant beer smell. The external light had difficulty penetrating, making it challenging for both Ningxi and Shi Xiao's group to see clearly inside the warehouse. "Be cautious." Shi Xiao tried to keep his voice low as he spoke to the two men by his side. Then, gunshots rang out. Inexplicably, the two men following Shi Xiao became nervous. Wasn't this a meeting between their boss and Shi Xiao? Where's your phone? Check the situation. Yes, yes. One of the men immediately took out his phone and activated the flashlight mode. When the colorful light illuminated the dark area, Shi Xiao's face changed suddenly. Just a dozen meters away, Xiongji lay on the ground, battered and bruised, in a miserable state. Xiongji. Shi Xiao didn't have time to think about anything else. He immediately rushed towards Xiongji's direction, then helped him up from the ground. Damn it, there's a traitor, traitor. Seeing Shi Xiao clearly, Xiongji shouted angrily. A traitor? Shi Xiao's heart sank, and the gun in his hand tightened even more. Previously, Xiongji found it strange. How could the boss arrange to meet him in such a ghostly place? Shi Xiao, go. Hurry, there's an ambush. The boss isn't here, not here. Xiongji roared like a wild beast, veins bulging on his forehead, his eyes bloodshot. Before Shi Xiao could say anything, the enormous lighting in the abandoned warehouse was switched on. In an instant, it went from pitch-black darkness to blinding daylight. Boom! The intense light made Shi Xiao, Xiongji, and the others instinctively close their eyes. Then, they heard the sound of the warehouse door slamming shut. Once Shi Xiao completely adapted to the bright light and turned around to look, the iron door of the warehouse was already closed and locked. Haha, you idiots! In the depths of the warehouse, amidst the chaotic footsteps, Shi Xiao and the others also heard someone laughing and cursing. Within a few breaths, 4 foreign strongmen in tight t-shirts walked out, followed by a disheveled foreign woman in black. One bald strongman had exaggerated tattoos on his arms, neck, and even his head. When he looked at Shi Xiao and Xiongji, his gaze was like examining corpses, with a hint of mockery. It was only at this moment that Shi Xiao completely understood. Lu Tingxiao was never here, or rather, he had never arranged to meet them. Hong Jinhao, that bastard, betrayed them, luring Shi Xiao and Xiongji into this trap. Hong Jinhao, your mother exploded. I fuck your grandmother. Shi Xiao's face turned red, and he started cursing. Shi Xiao and Xiongji had no doubts about Hong Jinhao. When he sent the message earlier, telling them that Lu Tingxiao was waiting here, neither of them had any suspicions. Who would have thought that in the end, it was all a trap? Hong Jinhao was a damn traitor. Ha ha ha, you bunch of idiotic pigs. The bald strong man with tattoos laughed loudly. On the side, the foreign woman's eyes were sharp, silent, only playing with her cold black gun. Who the hell are you? Do you know Lu Tingxiao? We're Lu Tingxiao's people. Do you dare to mess with us? One of the men brought by Shi Xiao, sweating profusely, spoke. Shi Xiao glanced at the man. At this point, what else was there to say? No matter who these foreigners were, bringing them to this abandoned warehouse had a clear purpose. They obviously wanted to kill them. Today, I'm going to make all of you die here, braised like a bunch of pigs. The bald strong man's gaze was sinister and ferocious. Upon hearing this, the man suddenly shouted angrily, quickly drawing the pistol from his waist and aiming it at the bald strong man. Even in death, I'll drag you down with me. Alice, kill that pig, the bald strong man said coldly. As the words fell, the foreign woman quickly raised her hand. With a loud bang, the bullet accurately and effortlessly knocked the man's pistol out of his hand. Ah! The man's right palm numbed, the tremendous impact causing the gun to slip from his grip, stumbling back several steps, almost falling to the ground. Seeing this, Shi Xiao and Xiongji's expressions became even more unsightly. The foreign woman's marksmanship was just too accurate. Moreover, it was incredibly fast, catching others off guard and leaving no chance for counterattack. Oh, Alice, my darling, why didn't you just shoot that pig dead with one shot? The bald strong man looked at the foreign woman in confusion. Kill him, no need for a gun, use my hands. The foreign woman had an ice-cold expression, dressed in a black tight-fitting suit, striding decisively toward the man. The foreign woman's footsteps were steady, and her movements were extremely agile, especially in that tight-fitting suit, which gave her a sense of freedom. You stinky woman, dare you not use a gun? If you don't, I dare to kill you. One of the men brought by Shi Xiao was now sweating profusely. A desperate man would do anything, especially someone who had spent years in the underworld. The foreign woman gestured to him without saying a word. At this moment, the man's face was full of madness. These foreigners obviously intended to kill them. Since he couldn't survive, he stopped thinking about it. At least, he would kill this foreign woman in front of him. Thinking of this, the man roared and rushed toward the foreign woman, raising his fist, preparing to smash it into her head. However, before the man could get close, a black shadow suddenly flashed before his eyes. Accompanied by a whooshing sound, before he could understand what had happened, a sharp pain struck his jaw. His whole body seemed like a kite with a broken string, flying out, and with a loud bang, he collided with a distant iron pillar. Wah, chow and I, lao lao. At this moment, the man wanted to get up from the ground, but after several attempts, he failed. His face was covered in blood, his teeth shattered, including 2 front teeth. When the man spoke, the wind leaked through, making it impossible to hear what he was saying. The foreign woman remained expressionless, slowly lowering her raised foot. The man didn't see it clearly, but Xiongji and Shishao saw it vividly. Before the man could get close, the foreign woman delivered a swift and powerful front kick directly to the man's chin. The front kick was incredibly forceful, definitely the result of intense professional training. It should be a taekwondo front kick, but for a woman to train her strength and accuracy to such a level is truly rare. Shishao muttered, his eyes gleaming with cold light. Over the years, Shishao had learned all kinds of deadly techniques. While a woman like her was undoubtedly skilled, Shishao was confident that he could still take her down. However, with several guns pointed at him and Xiongji, any rash move would lead to disastrous consequences. I'll kill you, no need for a gun, use my hands. The foreign woman spoke indifferently, walking directly behind the man. Without giving him a chance to speak again, she strangled him to death. Seeing this, another man brought by Shishao turned pale, not daring to say a word, afraid of attracting the attention of the foreign woman. Ha ha ha, pigs are pigs. Alice's taekwondo has reached the red belt. Idiots, stupid pigs. The bald strong man laughed heartily. Philo, it's a red-black belt, not a red belt. The foreign woman glanced at the bald strong man. Oh, dear Alice, it's a red-black belt. A red belt is even more powerful. The horse is getting close to the black belt. You're right. The bald strong man apologized with a smile. What do you want with us? Xiongji couldn't bear it anymore, almost roaring. Ha ha ha, don't be in such a hurry. I want to play a very interesting game with you stupid pigs. The bald strong man signaled to the 2 people in front of him. Then, the 2 foreigners brought heavy boxes from behind and threw them at the feet of Xiongji and Shishao. What does this mean? Shishao frowned. It's simple. Here, there are some guns that are very difficult to recognize. If you misidentify one, I'll kill one of you. Fair enough. The bald strong man thought for a moment before saying.